fun all day because not only do we have sports on a Sunday morning, we have a huge soccer show that comes up after us, and that goes from noon till 2. And then we'll have Kansas City Chiefs football. I don't know if it gets any better than that on a Sunday afternoon. So if you're looking for some sports and entertainment, we have it all for you set up here on KMOX. Let's get into it a little bit. Busy day yesterday in the world of sports locally. We had Missouri playing up in Columbia. They for homecoming, they defeat South Carolina. They're 7-1. I'll say it again. Missouri Tigers is 7-1. And while I know when you look at the schedule initially, you say, well, maybe they should be. And you're right, maybe they should be, but that's not something we've said in a long time. So kudos to them. They have the week off. They'll get ready to go to Georgia to take on the Bulldogs after this bye week. And obviously, Georgia hasn't lost a game in a couple of years, and they're still a pretty good team. They look more beatable this year, but you just never know. Maybe they play to the level of competition. So Missouri will have time to get themselves prepared for the University of Georgia in a couple of weeks, and may the best team win. Busy night here in St. Louis, downtown St. Louis, SC City. They had a game last night, losing to Seattle, the final regular season game of the season. And they'll go into playoff mode, and we'll find out who, when, and where here very soon as far as who they're going to host in the first round. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to seeing how the game changes. So we'll visit with their manager, Lutz Vonesteel, a little later in the show and talk some soccer with him. Also, the St. Louis Blues, they rebounded last night from a disappointing loss on Thursday. They beat the always pesky Pittsburgh Penguins, for those of you who remember Gus Kyle, 4-2. Good win last night, and certainly when you think about the Blues, Jordan Bennington is playing as well as I think we've seen him play in quite some time. He's going to need some help, though, and we'll talk with Jamal Mayers about that a little later. I love the start of Jordan Bennington. Not excited about some other starts yet, but it's very, very early, so we have plenty of time to see just who this hockey team is for 2023-24. Also, we'll talk with Chris May a little later and talk with him about what's going on at St. Louis U. They open up a brand new facility. The basketball teams are practicing. This fall sports are underway. Always something going on down at St. Louis U, so we'll visit with Chris May about that a little later. I mentioned we're going to visit with Lutz Vonesteel a little later. We'll also talk with Howard Richards about the University of Missouri and what's going on with them as they win yesterday. And as we mentioned, they have South Carolina coming up. And as I also mentioned, we'll talk with Jamal Mayers a little later about the Blues and some of the other things the Blues are doing community-wise in St. Louis. So we'll have that to discuss a little later in the show. As we mentioned earlier, we have the Kansas City Chiefs on tap for the day. And I have to tell you, watching the games, I don't know if I'm really as excited because, I mean, there just aren't as many interesting matchups. And I'll give you a good example. I think we all felt like Detroit was going to be better. They're 5-1. Okay. And they play Baltimore. That should be a very spirited game for a lot of different reasons. But when you look at some of the other games on the schedule, you say, okay, Vegas and Chicago. Nah, probably not. Then you look down the road, you see Arizona and Seattle. Nah, I don't think so. And there just so many games like that. There was a time when Buffalo and New England would be must watch. Not anymore because New England is not very good. And now the injury bug is starting to really bite some teams. And, you just don't have that wiggle room in the NFL when it comes to salaries is concerned. So you're kind of stuck with with who you have. And that doesn't always make for the best of games. But with that said, we still have some games down the road. I think this should be fun, but we'll start off today with the Kansas City Chiefs. They have their hands full this afternoon as they have a game this afternoon, and it'll be San Diego or L.A., and we'll see how things unfold between those two premier quarterbacks. Baseball, a lot to talk about on that front. Are you enjoying the playoffs? I have to tell you, this is the most postseason baseball I've ever watched without the Cardinals being involved in it, and I will say this, it's been very entertaining. And I think there's one common denominator. If you pitch, you play. If you don't pitch, you watch games or listen to them on the radio because that's what it's come down to. And when you look at the two teams in Philadelphia and Houston who have leads in their respective races, we're going to have a rematch, it looks like. And you know what? They can both pitch. They both have solid lineups. Defensively, they don't throw it away. And they've been some entertaining games, I will say that. So we'll see how things unfold a little later. And we're going to talk with John Denton here in just a bit from MLB.com to get his thoughts not only on what postseason is all about, but what are the Cardinals doing? Kind of quiet. And that's normal at this time of the year because of the fact that teams don't like to upstage the postseason. I get it. You'll see a few things start to trickle through from time to time. Like earlier in the week, Miami's general manager decided to move on. Yeah, that was big news. But normally, we kind of keep it quiet until after the World Series when things really start to pick up. And I think things will pick up a lot sooner than later this year because I don't know if there are a lot of good players free agency wise out there. So if you don't have a lot of them, you better try and sign them as soon as you can. So a lot of things going on that front. So we'll talk with John Denton of MLB.com in just a bit. So we invite you to stand by. This is Sports on a Sunday Morning. I'm Mike Claiborne, filling in for Tom Ackerman. We will be back and talk some baseball after this.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to experience something paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable? Join host Jack Wagner on the podcast Otherworld as he explores spine-chilling real stories shared by everyday people who have experienced something unexplainable. Listen each week for first-person testimony from people who have come face-to-face with something that can't just be explained away. Listen and follow Otherworld, an Odyssey podcast, available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Can it be true? 1 out of 7 teens in the United States is experiencing hearing loss. Let's check in with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center.
Yes, this is in fact true. So it is a quiet pandemic, and we want to be here to help you protect your hearing. It's important to preserve the hearing that you do have, and we can guide you through this process. We at the Audiology Center offer hearing protection for hunters or musicians, even concert goers. So if you're just looking for general education on those popular earbuds, we're here for you as well. We would love to have you come in so we can take an impression of your ear and get a customized hearing protection piece for you so that you can preserve that hearing and continue hearing your loved ones throughout your life.
Thanks, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 St. Louis area locations, Creve Coeur, St. Peter's, and Florissant. 636-441-7470.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The verdict is in. STL Today is named under law 2023's best St. Louis law firm. Thank you, St. Louis, and we vow to continue our mission to not only deliver exceptional results, but to change the way companies do business and make St. Louis a safer place, one case at a time.
When you're injured, you need the best. Call Onder Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everyone. Mike Claiborne here, filling in for Tom Ackerman. Let's get right to it. Standing by, he's with MLB.com. He's covered the Cardinals for the last couple of years. Always good to talk either baseball or basketball with John Denton. John, how are you?
I'm doing great, Clay. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to have you on board, sir. As I mentioned in the previous segment, it's kind of quiet on the Cardinal front, and obviously postseason play has a lot to do with that. And we don't see a lot of things that take place before the World Series is over with. But what are some of the whispers you might be hearing?
Well, Clay, there's a burning desire within this organization to figure it out, to make sure that last year was a one-off. That there have been meetings. There's lots of planning going on. There's a plan of attack, how they want to address this thing. They're also checking in on injured players. There's 3 or 4 guys who had surgery: Alec Burleson, Dylan Carlson, those guys. But mainly it's about planning for this off season, because we all know this is one of the biggest off seasons in maybe the last 10 or 15 years. The Cardinals know they have to get this right. They have to get this thing corrected. They have to go out and get pitching. So it is a big off season, and I think there's a burning desire within the organization to turn this thing around.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is probably the biggest offseason we've had in at least 10 to 15 years. But with that said, you mentioned pitching. How do you get it? How do you fix pitching? Because when you look at the free agent market, there's a few guys that are intriguing. But I always ask the question, and I'll give you a good example. I know Aaron Nola's a guy that everybody talks about.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Aaron Nola, what makes St. Louis attractive to you when you're on a team that's already been to the World Series once and may go back again, and they've shown the ability to spend money? So what's going to be the sizzle for the Cardinals when they go out and try and attract free agents, other than the extra year in the contract and just money completely?
Yeah, just because a guy's a free agent doesn't mean you can automatically sign him. I mean, you're going to be competing against others, and you're going to be competing against a Phillies team that's in no hurry to lose a guy that puts them in position to get to a World Series again. So it's not a slam dunk just because a guy's a free agent. And the Cardinals have to sell their culture, their winning history, a chance to play with Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, a chance to play in front of a fan base that's going to be loyal to you, things like that. But they're going to have to overpay, Mike. It's as simple as that. They got to reevaluate their model for pitching. That in the NBA, if you don't have a point guard, you don't matter. In the NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't matter. In baseball, if you don't have pitching, you don't matter. They're going to have to spend for pitching. They're going to have to spend dollars for free agents, and they're going to have to spend in terms of prospects in trades to get pitchers. It's that simple. They're going to have to overspend in a variety of ways to make sure they go in the next season with pitching.
John Denton of MLB.com is our guest here on KMOX. And John, when we talk about pitching, everybody talks about starting pitching. I think you might want to focus on the bullpen. And I think the best example I can use is as I look at these teams that are in postseason right now, the reason why they're there is because they have lights out bullpens that have been able to shore that gap between inning 7 and 9, not inning 5 through 9, like we see in some teams. You just can't have starters go out and give you 5 in the third. You have to go deeper, but you have to have a bullpen to back them up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, Mike, for all that Dave Dombrowski has done in Philly, adding Trey Turner and Schwarber and Bryce Harper and guy after guy and making that lineup great, he went out and solidified that bullpen this year. I mean, the Phillies are where they are because they have a really deep and good bullpen. They have all kinds of guys who can face different kind of hitters and different kind of situations. And the Cardinals, a lot of the Cardinals' problems this year, I know there's been so much focus on starting pitching. Their bullpen was really down, and it's hard. Bullpens are so volatile from year to year. Just because you were great one year doesn't mean you're going to be great the next. Just because you're bad one year doesn't mean you're going to be bad the next. The Cardinals only blew 16 saves 2 years ago, when they made the playoffs and lost to the Phillies. This past season, it was 32, I think, blown saves, somewhere in that range. So it just from year to year, it's very hard to tell if a guy's going to be effective, if a guy's going to stay healthy. But, as the Cardinals found out, there's nothing more backbreaking. How many times this year did they lead a game 6 innings, 7 innings, and then, have it blown in the 7th or 8th inning? Like that just kills the morale of a team.
Hey, are you enjoying the postseason? I have to tell you, I have to tip my cap to Philadelphia. They went out and spent a ton of money on free agents, and for the most part, it's worked. But then when you look around, you look at their roster, and you look at their starting 8. 6 of the 8 guys were former first-round draft choices. Okay, and they may have come from different organizations like Schwarber and Castellanos and Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. Well, Trey Turner wasn't first round. Yeah, he was. But point being, 6 former first-round picks. So, you throw in the ones that they have of their own at their second baseman and their third baseman that they developed within their own organization. They're doing something right over there other than just spending money.
Yeah. It's like I kind of mentioned it earlier. Like, I think Dave Dombrowski is a Hall of Famer. I think, what he built the Marlins, he built the Red Sox, he built the Tigers. Now he's building a dynasty in Philly. If they can win one this year, maybe. They've hit on everything. I mean, Aaron Nola, I think, was maybe number 7 overall pick. Wheeler was a guy who only had 2 kind of half decent seasons with the Mets. They were wise to go get him. Stole him out of the division, which is so hard to do in this game. Like you said, they hit on Stott, they hit on Bohm, 2 first-round picks, and then you supplement it with free agents. I mean, that's kind of the model these days. Is you got to hit on your picks, and then you got to go supplement in areas where you don't. Maybe you miss on a pick. You got to go supplement with a free agent. I think they're giving a lot of baseball kind of a roadmap of how to build a team. Is you got to hit on your picks, and then where you're short, you go spend money in free agency. I mean, that's probably a path that the Cardinals will look to to follow this all season.
Hey, I want to go back to the Cardinals for a second. One of the bigger items of conversation in St. Louis, it comes down to one word: Yachty. Your thoughts on whether he will be part of this staff, and I don't know what capacity, but obviously there where there's smoke, there's fire. Give me your thoughts on what that situation might look like.
Well, anytime you can have a winner of Yachty's quality around, you jump all over that. John Mozeliak knows that. Everybody in St. Louis knows that any team that has Yachty or Molina on it is a better team because of it. I think, Mike, it just comes down to commitment. How much does Yachty want to do this? Does he want to do it 162 games a year? Does he want to do it 82? Does he want to just work in spring training? I think it comes down to finding out, where his level of commitment to this is. We all know he was pretty beat up pretty bad. That last year was rough on him. His knee was killing him. He'd done this so long. I think he needed a year away from baseball. And, we all know, like, if you can have him in spring training for 6 weeks working with Wilson Contreras will be a better catcher because of it. And, I do really believe that Yachty will be back in some capacity. It's just right now it's determining, how much does he have left to give? How much does he want to do this? I think he'll be a manager at some point. It's just he's got to kind of recharge the batteries, get away from it, and figure out how much he wants to pour back into this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you have to step away from this game for a little bit just to recharge the battery. So that's going to be something we'll pay attention to. And you touch on something with regard to how much of a commitment, because you're around these players and coaches every day, and you see what time they get there, you see what time they leave. I mean, this is not the easiest job. Being a coach, being a bench coach, it doesn't make a difference what your role is. It is very time consuming, and it can wear you down if you don't watch out. And it'll be interesting to see what that commitment from Yachty might be if he's extended.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, we all know that Yachty was part of that early morning crew in spring training. Like, in those days in Jupiter, there were days where he was leaving at 9:30 because he had already been there since 6 in the morning. He's a guy who likes to get his work in early. Gets his work in. So, it's long days, it's early mornings, it's late nights. It's, a lot of my buddies tell me, oh, you got the greatest job in the world. And I said, yeah, but I get there at 2:30 in the afternoon and I leave at midnight when there's nobody left. So, that kind of blows people away. But players and coaches are the same way. There's a lot of 12, 14-hour days. There's a lot of nights when Mike Claiborne rolls in at 2:30 in the morning after a long road trip. Like, it's a tough life. It's a grind. And I think it did Yachty a lot of good to kind of stay away from it for a year. He did a really good job of, staying away from it and recharging his batteries. But I could totally see a scenario where he's, revived from having a year off and ready to dive back into this thing.
All right, final question for John Denton of MLB.com for us. 2 questions. One, give me a story that once the postseason is over with, we might want to start paying closer attention to. And who do you like in the NBA this year? Give me the 2 finalists.
Let's see. A story we want to start paying attention to. I mean, it's pitching, Mike. I think, where does Blake Snell end up? Does Nola leave? Does Philly win? If Philly wins at all, maybe they let Nola leave. It's all about those top starting pitchers. How much money does Sonny Gray get? We all know Nola's 31, Sonny Gray's 33. Can organizations commit 4 and 5 years to guys on the wrong side of 30. So, I think pitching is going to dominate the off season. That's going to be the top storyline. As far as the NBA, let's see. I'm a big proponent of the Warriors. I really like the Warriors, but man, what the Suns have done is impressive. St. Louis may get to see Bradley Beal in the finals this year, and I've told people for years, if Bradley Beal was on a great team, he would be considered a top 10 player in the NBA. And I'm really excited to see Bradley Beal play on a good team that's trying to win. And I think the rest of the league's going to see how good he is. I'll take the Phoenix Suns right now. I lean towards the Warriors because I love Steve Kerr. I love Stephen Curry. They're about all the right things. But, man, that Suns team has put together a heck of a team. And
but they can't guard anybody.
For St. Louis, I hope I get to see Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker win the thing this year.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, John, as always, it's good to visit with you. I'm sure we will cross paths, if not before, certainly at the winter meetings. And if anything breaks, folks, I always tell you, go check out John Denton at MLB.com. He'll have it for you.
You're the best, Clay. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Take care. All right, that's John Denton of MLB.com. When we come back, let's find out what's going on over at St. Louis U. We'll have a chance to visit with the athletic director, Chris May. A lot of things happening, and we'll find out a lot more in detail when we come back on KMOX.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Reinhold Flooring is dedicated to delivering top-notch flooring solutions with a commitment to customer satisfaction. We ensure your needs are met with the highest level of service. We stand firmly behind our work and make things right when issues arise. Based in St. Louis, we take pride in offering a comprehensive range of services, from crafting custom area rugs to providing manufacturer-approved floor cleaning supplies and even free in-home estimates. We cater to the builder and commercial business with high-quality flooring solutions. Learn more at reinholdflooring.com.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broke and it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They'll be here quick and have you feeling good. JerryKelly.com. Because your furnace will be running like it should. They're certified technicians, I've been told. Will help you when it's hot and help you when it's cold. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, so why don't we do something about it? With Neovitin Men's 50 Plus, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Formulated for men over 50, Neovitin Men's 50 Plus gives you B vitamins to support energy and our proprietary physician-formulated blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Do something about your health today with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus. Available at your local Schnucks and Deerbergs.
Fall's here, and now's the perfect time to install a new heating and cooling system from Smart House Heating and Cooling. Get no interest and no payments for 12 months, plus rebates along with federal tax incentives up to $5,400 on eligible equipment. Ask about the Mitsubishi Mini Split. And don't be left in the cold. Smart House is a BBB Torch Award recipient for ethics and integrity and the smart choice for your family's comfort. Go to callsmarthouse.com. They'll do the right thing for you.
When a parent struggles with addiction or dies from a drug overdose, what happens to their children? Far too many end up in foster care, unable to ever return to their birth homes because it's simply not safe. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is fighting the clock so that teens don't age out of foster care, leaving them at a higher risk of addiction and other negative outcomes that can happen to a child without the love and stability of a permanent family. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
And we continue, everyone. I'm Mike Claiborne, filling in for Tom. We go back to the guest line and standing by as the athletic director at St. Louis University. It's always good to visit with Chris May. Chris, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Claibs. How you doing this morning?
I am doing well. Not as well as you because you have so much going on campus. You opened up a new facility recently we'll talk about. Also, when you think about basketball season is around the corner, the practices have already started. Your fall sports are underway. So where would you like to start?
Well, you hit it, Claibs. We've got a lot going right now. And but I was listening to your earlier caller, Phoenix Suns. How about Jordan Goodwin?
That's right. He's going to be on the team as well.
Is right in the mix, but we couldn't be more proud of Jordan. He's done the work to earn the right to play at the highest of levels, so we're all fired up for Jordan. But yeah, there's a lot going on campus today right now, Claibs. We've got your fall sports are getting into postseason. Our winter sports are practicing, getting ready to get back at it. We've got spring sports that are training, getting their fall balls done. So it's an exciting time. But as you mentioned, we are unbelievably blessed to have cut the ribbon on the O'Loughlin Family Champion Center. We'll start moving in the end of this week. And that's a project that's taken us. We put a lot of time and energy into that, and I welcome all Billiken fans to come and take a tour and see it. It really is going to separate our program from many, and it came about from our community really rallying around our vision to put Billiken student athletes in the best position to compete at the highest levels. And so Bob O'Loughlin, who you know well, he and his family really helped start the push. And then, Jim Kavanaugh and Worldwide Technology. I mean, you go on down the line, the whole community really rallied around our vision and helped make it happen. And so we are unbelievably proud to put our student athletes. It's interesting, Claibs, it's not open yet, but on a regular basis, we got student athletes in there figuring out how to use the technology way better than I can. I was doing a tour last Sunday showing somebody through the building, and there were some students in the study area, and there's these big screens in there. Shoot, Claibs, I'd have a hard time turning one on. I go in there, and they've got the NFL game on the left half of the screen, and they got a PowerPoint on the right half studying. I'm like, that's the way students do it nowadays. But no, it's a really a great asset for us and for recruiting and for all of our students, and we couldn't be more proud of the community and what they've done to put us in position to put that facility in place. And I'd love to give you the nickel tour next time you're in Midtown.
I will make it my business to check it out. You know, it's amazing how important facilities are to young athletes these days. And if your program doesn't have something that's reasonably close to state of the art, you're probably not going to be in contention for a lot of good players. And it's amazing, Chris, they're on campus for 4, perhaps 5 years. And you would think they were going to be there forever. But, you know, it's one of those situations where you have to have it. And if you don't, it's just like night and day, I would think, at this point.
And that 4 years goes so quick. I mean, you know, when your kids went through college, it is a blink and it happens. And so how we put those young people in position every day to get a great education, to compete in their respective sports at the highest levels, and then, learn how to give back to our community. That's what we try to do every day. And, you know, that's what that facility will focus on. But today we've got our women's soccer team plays for the A10 regular season championship in Philadelphia here in an hour and a half. Katie Shields and that team, they've won 5 A10 championships in a row, led by All-Americans, all local St. Louis preps, Lindsay Heckel, Abby Miller, and Emily Percelli. You got 3 kids coming back who are all All-Americans who are leading that team, amongst others. So it's a big day for our women's soccer program. Hopefully they can get the win, and then they will host. They've already solidified the number 1 seed, so they'll play at home next Friday in the quarters of the A10 tournament, and then the following week the semis and finals. If we're fortunate enough to take care of business, they'll be at home the whole way. So Katie Shields has done a great job with our program. It's a top 25 program year in and year out, and today's a big one for them. Last night go ahead, Claves.
I was just going to say, I'm going to give you some credit here, too. Since you've been at St. Louis, you as the athletic director, you've turned over coaches and things of that nature, but each one of your programs has found themselves in postseason play, if not become a perennial champion within the conference. And I think that says a lot about you and the support you've been able to receive from the administration to truly upgrade the entire program and not just one particular sport.
Well, Mike, you hit it on the head. You can't do it without your leadership support. You and I have talked about this. You and I talked about it in high school gyms back in the day. I remember. I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, we spent more time in high school basketball gyms together talking about exactly that. But you can't do it without that. And we are very, very blessed, from President Costello to Chairman of the Board Conrad to on down the line. Our leadership, our vice presidents are all in line helping us deliver for our student athletes. And so we've got that. We've got a lot of momentum, and we're really, really fortunate and blessed. We've got good coaches, we've got good teams, and our young people come here. They know what they're going to get when they get an education at SLU, and they get a chance to compete. And so last year we had teams win 6 championships, and it's an exciting time to be around. But today's a big day for women's soccer. The men are sitting in second. They tied a tough Dayton team last night. They've got a home game left Tuesday, and then they go on the road before the tournament starts. We hope to host the A10 tournament with the men as well. Kevin Kalish, as you know, is a unbelievable coach. Great community connections. We've got the number 1 recruiting class. We're going to have the number 1 recruiting class 2 years in a row with our men. So we're very, very excited about what those guys are doing. Then you got other fall sports. Our volleyball team, Andrea Beatty. We've got huge crowds that have been coming to see the volleyball team. Field hockey got a big win on Friday over Lock Haven. Cross country kids are running. So there's a lot of excitement on campus right now. And then hoops.
It's a different look.
Our women right now, Claibs, I texted with Rebecca Tillett, and she's playing Indiana today in a scrimmage. Indiana's preseason number 9. And so she's got a great team. And Travis's team, we're going to play Kentucky Wesleyan on Tuesday night, and it is a totally different look. You got Gibson Jimerson back, preseason, first team all A10. You've got Sincere Parker, who we had an open scrimmage Friday, and I was there for about 3/4 of it, and I saw him miss like one shot. TJ Hargrove is going to be a cornerstone on this team, and he's starting to look like the TJ of old. He just looks great. Larry Hughes Jr. is growing and getting better and better. We had an open practice for some people the other night, and he came off a screen and elevated, and I looked at Earl Austin Jr. I'm like, okay, Larry Jr.'s back. I mean, he is really doing well. Kellen Thames. And then you got a bunch of new kids. You got 8 new kids, from high school kids to internationals. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts in the first month or so, but we like our nucleus, and really a talented group of kids that what I really enjoy being around is they just hustle. They just work their tails off. And in college sports, that's a good place to start.
It's a very good place to start. Chris May is our guest. He's the athletic director at St. Louis University here on KMOX. And Chris, with the NIL and the portal, all having a significant impact on college sports, what do you see down the road for the NCAA and what they'll have to tackle? Because there are a lot of balls in the air, whether it's realignment, conference moving around, they're talking about maybe just geographically setting up conferences. You have the football side, you have the basketball side, you have to figure out how the Olympic sports are going to compete if you're going to travel cross country. So what do you see being some of the next challenges the NCAA may have in front of them that athletic directors and presidents like yourself are going to have to deal with?
Well, Claibs, it's a great question, and I'm really, really fortunate to sit on the NCAA council, so I probably get up close and personal to some of the issues more than many. But the number one issue right now is and will be for the next 24 to 36 months is the NIL space and how we get some parameters around it. And there's a lot of work going on in DC right now to get some federal guidelines that, right now you've got 50 states, you got 32 of them, of which have different NIL parameters out there. And as a membership organization, that's no way to try and manage where you're going. So Charlie Baker, the new CEO of the NCAA, is a very former governor of Massachusetts, and was a highly successful governor, Republican governor of Massachusetts. So if you can do that, you've got some chops. And Charlie's working hard in D.C. to try and get some help. Now, many will tell you if you're sitting back waiting for D.C. to clean up your organization, you got some challenges. That would be an understatement, Clay.
I would agree with you on that.
That would be an understatement. But there's some really, really good people who are trying to weigh in and put some parameters around it. I think what we'll see very soon is We'll see some NCAA guidelines around registry with agents. I think there's going to be some protections for student athletes who, in signing deals, give them some protection. I think we'll see some standard contracts, so kids know here's what a real contract should look like, because there are some people who got into some bad deals for kids. But I also believe NIL's here to stay, and I think helping young people be out there and monetize their name, image, and likeness, and really be engaged in the economic benefits of college sport is a good thing. And so getting some guidelines around it, I think, makes a lot of sense.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I also feel somebody's got to step in and make sure these athletes understand the other liabilities that come with NIL, i.e. taxes. I mean, it's nice to have that check in your hand, but all of a sudden at some point you're going to have to pay taxes on some of this income. And we're going to have a guy, Chris, I was having fun with somebody the other day. We're going to have a first round draft choice that's going to be so deep in the hole from the NIL money that he will end up signing away part of his signing bonus when he gets to the next league to the IRS, because they're going to get their money. And I think that somebody has to step in and make sure that there's some sort of regulation of checks and balances to make sure that this thing doesn't spiral out of control.
Really some protections for those students. And I think that's going to be the first step that's going to happen to really help them and help our student athletes understand about withholding and understanding, we're going to give you a free lease on a truck, but it's actually going to cost you about $350 a month in tax. And so there's a lot of protection pieces that I think are coming that are going to do nothing but help young people guide themselves and help people guide them. There's also, I think, going to be some significant registry issues with agents. There's agents all over the place, some better than others, that are helping young people that are going to have some steps to go through in order to be in the game. But I think big picture, Claibs, here's what I'll tell you. In 5, 10, 15, 20 years, Division I athletics or college athletics is still going to be rolling. I can guarantee you in 10, 20 years, the Billikens will be playing high-level basketball and soccer. It might look a little different, but you've got an industry, you've got organizations, you've got communities that are invested in helping young people get their education and go play sports. And and there's never been a better time to be a student athlete. Trust me. What these young people, the facilities, the resources, and the experiences that these young people are having today is off the charts. I mean, it is unbelievable what these young people are able to do today, not only in the NIL space, but going out in the internship space and in the education and in the travel and all those pieces. There has never been a better time to be a student athlete. And so I am unbelievably bullish on the experiences that both men and women, Title IX, 50 years old, it has come to, look what's happening on the women's side. And I'm really encouraged and excited about that. It is starting to, you and I talked about it last time we spoke.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. In the marketplace, companies have found that investing in women's sports they can get a significant return. This isn't just a gift anymore. This is a flat out business decision where they're getting significant returns. So I think it's a great time to be in Division I athletics, and our student athletes are having unbelievably good experiences.
Chris May, St. Louis University Athletic Director. As always, it's great to visit with you, sir. Good luck with your sports teams, and may they go long into postseason. And I'll see you in the very near future to take a tour of this very impressive facility, from what I'm told.
All right, Claibs. Hey, I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You do the same, sir. He is Chris May. He is with St. Louis University. I am Mike Claiborne with KMOX. We will take a break, come back, and kind of get you set up for hour number 2. That includes some soccer talk, some hockey talk, and some Mizzou talk. And we'll find some other things to weave in as well. So we invite you to stick around. We'll be back with more on the voice of the Cardinals and St. Louis University Billikens, KMOX.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at the Ophthalmology Associates. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice. Dr. Berry is a cornea surgeon with the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care and treatment in the field. So what do we call him now? The doctors? No, just the best doctors to see for the best vision in St. Louis. Call 314-966-5000. We have treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice, which is why we're called the doctors, right? So I have been to see Dr. Birdie. My daughter Phoebe has been to see Dr. Birdie. We both love him. We thought the experience was fantastic. We have 3 locations with 3 great office staffs. The smiles are genuine. The concern is real. You will sit across from a doctor and have every single question you have answered, whether it's about a new prescription for your glasses or it's about LASIK surgery or cataract surgery. Just call 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com for Ophthalmology Associates.
Is your car still under warranty? No, not anymore. My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait, you pay nothing on repairs? Ox gets it fixed, free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance?
Yeah, you don't pay. Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies.
The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote, 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319. 800-221-6319 or go to oxcarcare.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everybody. It is our number 1 of sports on a Sunday morning. I'm Mike Claiborne, and don't forget, coming up in the next hour, we'll have a little soccer talk, a little Mizzou talk, and certainly we'll talk some Blues. But in the meantime, the Blues won last night. Craig Berube, well, he was a little happier with the performance of his team from last night compared to Thursday.
I think the guys really, kept the foot on the gas and continued to play the way we wanted to play the game. Overall, we had real good structure in our own end, kept it to the outside for the most part, ate a lot of pucks, played a good hockey game.
Todd, when he's moving like that, is that just a product of the way he skates and the way he...
Yeah, he's like I talked about before with him. He's a strong skater, got good speed, straight ahead, solid game from him.
Driving the net with him too and getting to those.
Well, that's what he does for them guys. He's always going to the net and opens things up for them. And like he scores a lot of goals around that net. That's where he scores his goals.
He hasn't had a lot from offensively away from that shed line. Good to see them get involved and maybe.
Yeah, it was a good captain. I thought played a strong game. Some good things. Could have had a couple himself, but. they played a strong game against the Malkin line. I thought they did a good job.
Craig Berube from last night. We thank our friends from Valley Sports Midwest for those highlights. As it's early in the season, it's very, very early, and we're all trying to figure out who's who and what they can do. It's a good start that your goaltending has been solid. I think when you can hear people compliment Colton Parayko and how he's faring, I think that's also a good sign. And there's some other players that you're waiting on them to get jump started, whether it's Jordan Cairo or Robert Thomas. There's some other players that are certainly getting the ice time to warrant them being on the first or second lines, and even the third line. I think they're still trying to figure some things out. So for those of you who want to push the panic button, let's hold off on that for a bit. I think this will be a good road trip for the Blues to find out who they are. I mean, this is not what you would don't confuse them with the 77 Canadians. Okay. I mean, this is not a team loaded with Hall of Famers. They're going to have to play a certain style and play it a certain way. There are teams that, the Blues are going to have to skate with. There are other teams they're going to have to be in good position with defensively. And if you have a combination of both, then I think you can find yourself competing in more games. But they've got to tighten some things up defensively. There's no question about it. And it's not just the sixth defenseman. The forwards have to come back and contribute as well. And I know they're trying to implement a new defensive system, and that's fine. Have no problem with that. I think that's going to take time. I think anytime you're trying to implement something new, you can do as much as you want in practice. I get that. But you have to be able to make sure that this same thing carries over to game time as well. And that's something that I think they're going to still have to figure out along the way. And maybe this road trip will give them a good test to see just how far they've come along since they've decided to go in a different direction. And they have to stay healthy. This is a team that doesn't have a lot of what you call NHL ready depth. Okay, we have some young players that maybe will shine at some point. But if they go down with a bunch of injuries, this thing could get a little interesting, and we don't need that at this point. Let's just go out and play with what you have to play with. Bushnevich is going to make the road trip, so hopefully they'll have him back in the lineup. So it should be something we should all pay attention to, but let's not get carried away one way or the other. I'm not advocating finding out what time playoff tickets go on sale, and I'm not advocating on who's going to be, if the Blues are going to be in the lottery. Somewhere in between, I think there's a lot we can learn about this hockey club. So let's just stay tuned and see how things unfold. With regard to other items going on, we talked with John Denton about baseball, and I've been saying this for a while. This Cardinal pitching search has to go in multiple directions, and I think you have to be creative. I know it's easy to say, let's go out and spend money on free agents. I don't think it's as easy as you think. I think you also have to look at whether you're going to find competent trade partners. And maybe that trade partner is looking to deal a number two guy that maybe has some time left that's controllable. Kind of like what we saw with Jordan Montgomery, where you had him, you rented him, you were able to move him, you got some prospects. We don't know if these guys can play or not, but we'll find out. The one guy that we did get from Texas accounted for himself well out of the bullpen as a lefty, so we'll see what he can do next year. But overall, you have to go about this via the trade, potential free agency, and maybe there's a player or two in the Far East that you might want to look at as well. But it's not just starting pitching, as I said earlier. You better have some people in the bullpen. So how creative the Cardinals get, well, we're going to find out. I'm of the belief that it'll happen sooner than later. Sometimes you want to set the market and just kind of get a feel for what's going to be what. I don't think you're in a position to worry about what the market looks like. Make your move. Now, you have to have two to tango. You may have a player that may want to see what the market looks like and may want to hold off before he makes a commitment. But I don't think you can stand back and wait for somebody to get signed and then say, okay, now we know what the market's like. Hey, set the market, go get your players and get ready for spring training is how I would look at things on that front. When you talk about soccer, I know City lost last night. It was 2-0. Seattle's a good team. I'm wondering, and we'll have a chance to talk with Lutz here in just a bit, about how you prepare and keep people sharp at this time of the year. First of all, it's a long season. We talk about the NBA and the NHL having long seasons, and we know baseball has 162 regular season games. This thing started, did it start back in February? And here we are in October, and we're just getting to the playoffs. So a lot of things go on. I'm anxious to see what the preparation is going to be like, especially as we've learned an expansion team. A lot of guys haven't gone through this yet. So it'll be fun to watch how things adjust from what we saw last night to their next encounter against a competent playoff team. So that should be fun. When it comes to fun, if you're a Mizzou fan, I'm not sure if it gets any better for you until you get to the conference championship. And obviously, there's some work to go. You have some work to do on that front. But it's fun to talk about a 7-1 Missouri team. And while I'm not big on rankings, I start to get bigger on rankings toward the end of October. It'll be interesting to see where they finish this week, as the rankings are going to be announced a little later today. When we come back, we'll have some soccer, some hockey, some football to talk about. And of course, we'll have some other things to address. And it comes your way right here on KMOX.
Says here that Graybar is a distributor.
Yeah, we support electrical and datacom projects all over the country.
So you can get me the products I need, where and when I need them?
Yeah, thanks to our national logistics network.
Any industry?
Yeah, construction, industrial plants, schools, hospitals.
So you could say Graybar is much more than a distributor.
Yeah, you could say that. When you need a hand powering, connecting, or maintaining your operations, join the thousands of professionals who rely on Graybar to help keep them up and running. Yeah, Graybar does that.
Creating a successful garden is all about planning. Some plants provide shade and others repel pests. When everything's balanced, the whole garden really thrives. My doctor at Archwell Health, she's all about planning too. We meet regularly to check my progress and make sure my health is looking good.
Looking for primary care for adults age 60 and up? With more one-on-one time with your doctor, same-day appointments for members, and locations near you, Archwell Health has everything you need to flourish. Visit archwellhealth.com today to learn more.
I think we like to have good faith arguments, and that's the difference between us and a lot of other shows out there and a lot of other hosts.
And I think there's just so much to talk about right now, whether you're talking about the city, the county, or the nation. And a lot of it's divisive, and people are angry, and we're not. You're my friend. I respect your opinion. I may not agree with it, but we're going to talk it through.
But also, we want to have fun because we know you want to have some fun. You want to be entertained, and that's what we want to do with you. It's Chris and Amy, weekdays 10 to 1 on KMOX.
Get ready, St. Louis. It's Medicare annual enrollment period. So why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for St. Louis. Trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
News Radio KMOX, the home of the Cardinals.
The deal of the year is here. In celebration of McKelvey Homes' 125th anniversary, save up to $89,724. Unlock a special mortgage interest rate starting in the fives, $2,500 in free closing costs. They're donating $18.98, the year they were founded, to St. Vincent de Paul for every sale from now until December 31st. Huge savings, a beautiful home, a chance to make a difference. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Why are New Balance shoes so good? Because New Balance uses the quality materials and craftsmanship that make our shoes perform. At New Balance St. Louis, we have a large selection of quality footwear in the state of Missouri. Our fit pros are extremely knowledgeable and take the time to understand your goals and activities. Customer service, quality shoes, and selection makes all the difference when selecting the perfect pair. Creve Coeur, Richmond Heights, and Fairview Heights. New Balance St. Louis. Nationally known, locally owned.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis. This is KMOX, always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com. I'm Christopher Cruz. Israel has been increasing its attacks on southern Gaza, possibly in preparation for an invasion, says CBS's Charlie D'Agata in Tel Aviv.
The full force of Israeli airstrikes and artillery resumed overnight and this morning. And a rare airstrike in the West Bank on a suspected Hamas terror cell in Jenin. 2 weeks of heavy bombardment has left Gaza in ruins, with a death toll that surpassed 4,300 people. Another 13,000 injured.
The UN continues to push for more trucks loaded with humanitarian aid to be allowed to enter Gaza through the Rafah crossing at the Egyptian border. Fewer than 24 trucks were allowed in yesterday, 17 today. UN World Food Program Chief Cindy McCain on ABC.
Yesterday, we were able to get 20 trucks across, and by that 20 trucks total, 3 of which were WFP. And so we were able to feed about 200,000 people last night during dinner. But that's not enough. That's a drop.
America's military is on the move in the Middle East to guard against anyone who might be thinking about attacking American interests in the region. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on CBS's Face the Nation this morning.
A very clear message from the president, backed up by the deployment of 2 of our largest aircraft carrier battle groups, to make sure that it's clear no one should take advantage of this moment to escalate to further attacks on Israel, or for that matter, attacks on us, on our personnel.
CBS News has learned that the U.S. is now evacuating some non-essential personnel and family members from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and the U.S. Consulate in Erbil, Iraq, because of increased security threats. Police are looking for the killer or killers of the president of the board of directors of a synagogue in Detroit. Police say Samantha Wall appears to have been stabbed to death in her home yesterday morning. Her body was found near her home. Sam Dubin is with the Jewish Community Relations Council.
She always had the biggest smile on, and whatever you were thinking or doing before, talking with Sam allowed you to kind of put the nonsense of the world aside for just a moment when you were talking with Sam.
Hurricane Norma roared ashore yesterday afternoon near the Pacific resort of Los Cabos at the southern tip of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. Hours later, Hurricane Tammy made landfall on the Caribbean island of Barbuda. Both were Category 1 hurricanes when they hit. As it moves into mainland Mexico, Norma is bringing heavy rainfall and could cause flash flooding in the region. This is CBS News.
You need to hire? Indeed is with you every step of the way, helping you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11:03, we have sunny skies and 59 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story this hour. A local judge is agreeing to step aside in a new lawsuit. That lawsuit challenges a Missouri law restricting gender-affirming health care for minors. Judge Stephen Omer was initially appointed by the Missouri Supreme Court to preside over it. The suit is seeking to overturn that law on behalf of families of 3 transgender minors, a St. Louis healthcare center, and LGBTQ+ organizations. The judge said at a hearing that assigning a new one could delay resolution on the case, possibly into next year. How can non-Jewish people in St. Louis best support their neighbors? Brian Herstig, president and CEO of the Jewish Federation, says, 1, be informed about the truth.
Hamas is an Iranian-backed terrorist organization. Find news sources that are reputable. Second of all, if you have a Jewish friend or neighbor, they're not all right. You can ask them. They're not. Provide some kind of support or words, because this is a really, really trying time.
The Jewish Federation is working with other community groups to support the Israeli people. You can donate to the cause at jfedstl.org. This Tuesday marks the beginning of the General Assembly's 2-week fall veto session in Springfield, Illinois.
Our partners at Capital News Illinois report lawmakers are set to address both vetoes from Governor J.B. Pritzker and some new initiatives. One would clarify an existing law on domestic violence orders of protection. It would require police to confiscate guns from an accused abuser within 48 hours of a judge granting an order of protection. Melanie Steen, KMOX News.
Lawmakers could also take up an extension to the state's Invest in Kids Act. That provides tax incentives for people who donate to private school scholarship funds, and it's expected to run out in the end of December. Fans of City SC are invited to a playoff rally this afternoon. It's from 1 to 3 at Lou Fuse Plaza. It'll include players, CEO Carolyn Kindle, sporting director Lutz Pfannenstiel, and head coach Bradley Carnell. The party will celebrate City's historic inaugural season and kick off its first playoff appearance, which happens in a few days at City Park. The date and opponent still TBD. It's going to be gorgeous weather for that. 68 this afternoon, low of 50 overnight. Then we're warming up to around 80 for the rest of this week. We could see a spotty shower later in the week, but right around 80 all week. Right now it's 57 in St. Peter's, 56 in Florissant, and 59 under sunny skies downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Mike Claiborne, filling in for Tom Ackerman here on KMOX. It's a little after 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. The weather's supposed to be pretty good outside. Maybe you're going to get out for a little walk or hang out with the dog or the pets or the kids. Or you might want to sit back and take in some football. Kansas City Chiefs, of course, you can hear on KMOX this afternoon. We have a huge soccer show leading up to that starting at noon, trying to get you set up for postseason play. And we'll visit with the sporting director, Luke Vanishfield, here in just a bit and get his thoughts on his team and where they go from here, because this has been some sort of whirlwind opportunity for an expansion team to go this far. And it's been fun. I mean, as I said earlier, when you see a team score as many goals as we've seen this team score, and it's just not one person, it has to be an advantage, especially when you get into postseason. So we'll talk with Lutz about that a little later. Also, Howard Richards, the color analyst for the University of Missouri football team, he will join us, and I know he has to feel good about his team being 7-1. And Jamal Mayers, Stanley Cup champion, former St. Louis Blue, is going to join us. He's also in the broadcasting field, not only with Bally Sports, but also Sportsnet in Toronto. We'll talk with him about what he saw last night and what the future holds for the Blues and a few things that the Blues are doing off the ice community-wise that we'll talk about as well. Baseball tonight, Houston can close out the Texas Rangers. That's been a very spirited series for a lot of different reasons. And I'm getting a kick out of the two managers. Both guys that are going to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. But how they manage things and how they manage their bullpens, it's just been a work of art. And really, when you look at games like this, and some people will say, well, the manager doesn't have that much impact. I think the one-time managers do have an impact is how they manage their team in postseason, because every at-bat, every pitch, every inning really has a meaning to it. And we'll see how these guys have done things. Just tells you why they've been so successful. So Houston has not been good at home. They have a chance to close it out. Texas, well, they know what's in front of them. They have to win or go home themselves. So I'm looking forward to that game. And then tomorrow night, obviously, Philadelphia can do the same to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks kind of saw what the Phillies were all about last night. I mean, they can swing the bat. I mean, not only that, they also pitch well. And when you think about, as I mentioned earlier with John Denton, how that team has been put together with free agents that have worked. I mean, let's face it, we've seen some teams go out and sign a bunch of guys and it didn't work. New York Mets would be one that comes to mind. But when you look at what Philadelphia has been able to do with the Harper signing, the Realmuto, the Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, all guys that have had significant roles with this ball club. And, and I think the other thing in common, they have, like, as I said, they have 6 guys who were former first-round picks. So it's not like they were, just going out getting a bunch of guys. I mean, these guys already had credible credentials before they were even brought in. So it says a lot about what they've been able to do. They spent their money and they're getting a good bang for their buck. Arizona might have something to say about it. I think most people thought when they went back to Arizona, this could be a sweep. But Arizona showed up and they did some things, and they'll be better for it. I don't know if they can win it or not, but I think they all learn from it, especially when you have so many young players. Their payroll is just $83 million. Think about that. $83 million, while Philadelphia is, what, $209 million, rather. 83 million, 209 million. There's a big discrepancy, but both teams are getting the most for their buck. So it should be fun to watch and see how things unfold tomorrow night. A few other things, college football. I know Georgia's number one and they didn't play this week. And I know that there's some other teams that are out there, but I don't know who's really that good. I watched Michigan give it to Michigan State last night, and you would have thought they were in 2 different leagues. And I don't know how good the Big Ten is because Minnesota goes into Iowa and handles them. Illinois probably should have beaten Wisconsin. So I'm not sure what the Big Ten is really offering. And then when you look around the rest of the country, Utah beats USC. USC's got a heck of a quarterback, but they have a few guys that don't tackle well on defense. And when you look around, there just isn't that dominant team, which makes the playoff selection process quite interesting. We're going to have one lost team that's going to be in this thing, and that's okay by me, as long as that team who's lost to somebody is lost to somebody credible. I think the team that could be in the hunt might be in Alabama. Their only loss was to Texas, and Texas is one of the top teams in the country. So I would just say stay tuned as we start to really find out who's who. And where does that put Missouri? I mean, is Missouri a top 10 team now? I mean, they're moving up the ladder. Obviously, if you take on Georgia and you do well, and I'm not saying do well, at this point, you're 7-1. Why not go in and say, let's go in and win this thing? So I think that's something that they have to take an approach on. So we'll find out about that in just a bit with Howard Richards. In the meantime, we're going to come back and visit with Lutz Vondersteel. He'll talk some soccer with us. His City is in postseason. It starts later in the week, and we'll tell you more about that when we come back on KMOX.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
STL today, the vote is in, and there's no need for a recount. I'm Jim Onder, and I want to thank you, the people of St. Louis, for acknowledging my team and Onder Law as STL Today's 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. As always, we will continue our mission to hold companies accountable, change the way they do business, and make St. Louis a safer place.
When you're injured, you need the best. Call Onder Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
Beneath their gorgeous exterior, 1-800-GOT junk trucks were designed to be ready for anything.
How about construction site junk?
All you have to do is point.
Retail, grocery store, warehouse, office junk?
Point, 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 point.
How about the monumental junk left after a fire or a flood or a hurricane?
This time, you'll need to do it with your other hand.
Why?
Because the first hand will be tired from all of that other pointing.
I see your point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
The average age of a hearing aid wearer has gone from 68 to 59 years old. What's going on? Let's check in with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center.
Baby boomers think of themselves as 15 years younger than they are. They're shifting their mindset from a retroactive to more of a proactive mindset in healthcare. They're focusing more on preventative healthcare, and that includes better hearing. We're here to bring loved ones back into the conversation. So please come in to see us so that we can test your hearing and get a treatment plan that's right for you. Hearing aids are so much more than better hearing. They can also alert loved ones if you've fallen and of your current location. They can keep track of your steps to encourage healthy movement throughout the day. Come see us to learn more.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler has 3 locations: Creve Coeur, St. Peter's, and Florissant. Call 636-441-7470 to make an appointment.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's final regular season game against the Seattle Sounders. Presented by Ponce Health Sciences University, creating new pathways and careers in healthcare.
Again, laser near post. It was flicked by Jackson Frank. And it's Bill without close. Skies it. He had a ball fall to him back about 10 yards away and bops it up over the bar. Lufin with it. Right foot low. Laser Jackson a hitter, but it's caught by Frey. Friend in the channel. Chu drops it through the box. Whiting from the end line. A deflected ball. And it ends up in the side shelf. A shot from the end line miraculously makes it 2-0 Seattle. Final score: Seattle 2, St. Louis City SC nothing.
This has been 90 and 60, presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. Up next, City SC, the Western Conference champions, head to the Audi 2023 MLS Cup playoffs. And you can hear the games on KMOX and your home for St. Louis City soccer. Y98.
Aspiring to be a doctor? Didn't score well in the MCAT? Gain all the confidence you need to succeed at Ponce Health Sciences University. PHSU west of City Park on the corner of Jefferson and Market prepares students for every aspect of a medical career. A Master of Sciences in Medical Science degree. An MSMS from Ponce prepares students for the coursework, the time commitment, and the rigor for a future in healthcare. Learn more at stlouis.psm.edu. That's stlouis.psm.edu.
They're good.
Gooder than you can imagine.
And you can assure me that they've got it going on.
Most of St. Louis thinks so.
But my lips are turning blue. Are they fast?
My darling, Jerry Kelly can install a new furnace tomorrow, no matter what day tomorrow is, even if we call late night.
You are my hero.
Technically, Jerry Kelly is your hero, but I'll take it.
JerryKelly.com. The fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We continue with Sports on a Sunday morning. Mike Claiborne filling in for Tom this weekend, waiting to visit with sporting director Lutz Pfannenstiel here in just a bit. Talk a little bit about city soccer. Postseason is here. Final game last night against Seattle. Didn't go the way you wanted it to. They lose 2-0. But they've been kind of in a precarious situation when you think about the time that they've had, knowing that they're in postseason, trying to get people rested, but also stay sharp. This will be an interesting test for a team that hasn't done this before. So let's go to the guest line, and standing by is the sporting director for St. Louis City SC. He is Lutz Pfannenstiel. How are you, sir? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah, not too bad. Nice sunny morning. Looking forward to meet some fans today and still analyzing the game from yesterday.
What did you take away from last night's game? It had to be one when you think about, all right, you're already set as far as your playoff position. You want to try and stay sharp. But what did you take away that you feel like you can use when it comes to postseason?
Yeah, it was one of these games where you have to say Seattle, they just proved again that they are a very intelligent team, a very experienced team. Whenever the playoffs coming closer, they somehow getting into the best football. They known for that, and I think they showed that yesterday by really giving us a lot to think of. But yeah, sometimes it's a tough one when you finished already first. The playoffs coming up, it's just for us really to get this momentum back, and having now 2 losses in a row against Vancouver, which was not a good game. Against yesterday, which was also not, especially the first half, not really our game. I think it's very important now that this week we refocus. We getting, I would say, back to that what made us successful in recent weeks, and that's playing as a team, working hard defensively, and trying to be as ruthless as possible. I think that's what has to be the task for this week.
Carol Daniel for PNCC Speak, the language of executives. This month, Elena Mathia, president and CEO of MTM, the industry leader of non-emergency medical transportation, explains how MTM is partly a transportation and partly a technology company, growing from $30 million to $1.2 billion. C-Speak shares stories and pioneering approaches of successful business leaders that we hope will spark growth in your business. Listen today at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews for Reinhold Electric, and big news for this group. They have been working hard for decades for St. Louis. They have been named Electrician of the Year 2 years running now by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So if you want a top-notch electrician, big or small, no matter what the size is, residential, commercial, industrial settings, Reinhold Electric has the experts that can tackle any of those jobs. 314-631-1158. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric. Online at reinholdelectric.com.
Garage Store, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue with the sporting director for SC City Soccer, Luce Bonenstiel. And Luce, as I mentioned earlier, you're not an expansion team anymore. So how do you prepare for postseason, especially for a team that's shown the ability to score goals from various people? You guys scored a lot of goals. We know those things kind of come down a little bit when postseason rolls around. So what things have you tried to do to keep it fresh and keep them ready to go for the first round?
Yeah, I think now it's more, about what happens in your head. I think we need to really, when tonight comes, put the tick behind it and say that was it with the first season. That was the 34 games of regular season, but now a complete different competition. A different ball game starts with the playoffs. We don't have that big group of players who actually have experienced a playoff tournament yet, and that's also interesting to see. But honestly, I believe it's a mental game. We need to get back to be sharp. We need to know from now on, every mistake you get punished for, and it's all about winning. It's all about to put your best performance on the pitch when it really counts. And I think we're not done yet. A lot of people think, well, after 34 games, that's it for them, and let's see them next year again. I still believe we have a lot of juice in the tank. We still wanna prove people wrong and also play a good playoff.
How is your team health-wise at this point? You've had a chance to rest a few players down the stretch. How do you feel your team is conditioning-wise and also health-wise?
Yeah, touch wood. We have no injuries at the moment, so everybody is basically match fit, ready to go. I think also we had a good break, maybe a little bit even too long. We saw that yesterday that we might look at some parts of the game a bit rusty because it was a 17 days break, which is pretty long at that part of the season. But with the international break, with the international duty coming in for the national teams, that's something what happens in October and November as well coming up. So it's I think we're definitely well rested. We're physically in a good stage, and I think everybody really looks forward now for the playoffs to come and try again to make the city proud.
Obviously it's been a great first season for you and your team, and we've seen so many surprises, and I know everybody's happy. But what about you personally? What's been the most pleasant surprise you've been able to experience about your club this year?
Yeah, I think, really to prove everybody wrong out there, because if you, obviously, people in St. Louis, you always had the feeling everybody believed in us, everybody believed and supported what we're doing. But if you're moving like 20 miles outside, and everybody was very critical, didn't really think we able to do anything, and so we will be like a pushover team this year. I think it's just a pleasure of proving people wrong, of showing people that an expansion team with a low budget still can do something special, and being the best in the West after 34 games. It's kind of I even will call it legendary because nobody ever done it before. Apart from that, me personal, I'm a perfectionist. My day never stops. I don't sleep much. I just really think already what's happening, not just in the playoffs. I'm thinking already what's happening in 24. Where do we need to do something? Is there some areas on the field where we need to strengthen? So it's more about thinking for me about the bigger picture, not just now about the playoffs. And especially, I'm not the guy who thinks back and says, "Oh wow, we had such a great season. Let's have a drink and celebrate." That's not me. For me, it's more or less let's keep on going and see to get the best possible results this year, and then definitely looking forward for 24 and trying again to prove people wrong.
The other thing that's impressive is how you've been able to use City 2 and your players from that group that have been able to contribute. And they're obviously getting a lot of experience as well, which is going to make your team even more competitive when you start your training camp next year.
Yeah, I think, we are pretty lucky with our academy setup. There is so many talented youngsters there, which then getting moved up into City 2, into our, basically under 23 team. They had last a good experience to move people into the first team. We want to keep on doing that. So definitely, local talent is for us one of the most important things. A local community to get young kids interested in the game, to get young kids to fall in love with football and actually make a career out of it. That's even a bigger goal for us. So overall, looking back, the first year definitely promising. But as I said, it somehow yesterday you got the feeling, the season is finished. No, we're not done yet. We just have to really get that into our heads this week to really get ready and get focused, reach and refocus and be as strong as possible next week.
All right, you have a big pep rally going on today where everybody can come out and visit with you and some of your players. When will you know who your opponent will be? And we know that it's going to be in St. Louis. So have you been notified about that yet?
So on Wednesday, there will be the wild card game, 8 versus 9. So it will be Kansas against San Jose. And the winner of that game, it's just one game. The winner will come on next week to play against us. So it will be Kansas, which will be another derby, or San Jose, a team which is technically really, really good and finished 9th. So one of them two, and on Wednesday evening we will know.
Well, Lutz, it's been fun to watch your team play in the regular season. May you have a long postseason and have a lot of fun with this. You brought a lot of happiness to a lot of soccer fans, football fans here in St. Louis. So we appreciate what you guys are doing and have a whole lot of fun with this down the stretch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Lutz Bonenstiel is our guest. He is the manager, the sporting director for the SC City soccer team. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk some college football. That means Howard Richards is just around the corner on KMOX.
Red Kingdom is back at Valley Sports Live at Ballpark Village this Sunday. It's the Chiefs and Chargers. Pre-game at 2, kickoff at 3:25. Grab your friends along with KMOX and Bud Light and huddle up for the game at the best watch party in town. For more details on how to reserve your table, head to KMOX.com/events. Watch the Chiefs with KMOX and Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
Are now part of the expanded Total Information AM.
Hello, Friday.
Friday mornings, you'll get all the news and sports information you need to kickstart your day.
Hello, Friday.
At 8:30, Hancock and Kelly offer unmatched analysis and perspective.
Hancock, I'm just grateful I get to spend time with you.
Thank you, Michael Kelly, and we like spending time with all of you right here on KMOX.
Hello, Friday.
Hancock and Kelly. Now 8:30 till 10, Friday mornings on KMOX.
For a limited time, First Community is offering a rate of 5% annual percentage yield on a 12-month or an 18-month certificate of deposit. Take your pick. You can open a CD with as little as $500, and there is no limit. Unlike some high-risk investments, CDs are fully insured to keep your savings safe, and the return on your investment is guaranteed. Requires a $500 minimum deposit to open. Call 1-800-767-8880 for terms and conditions. Federally insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
Fall is here. Baseball, beautiful weather, and the changing colors of trees and shrubs. When you think of your trees, call family-owned Gamma Tree Experts. Fall is a great time to prune and fertilize your valuable trees. Our staff of certified arborists will survey your trees to determine their needs. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree Experts at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-221-6319. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now. 800-221-6319.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319, or go to oxcarcare.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everybody. Mike Claiborne filling in for Tom Ackerman. Let's go back to the guest line. And standing by as a color analyst for the University of Missouri, former player there. He's done a lot of things. He's Howard Richards. So, Howard, here's the question for you. In your entire football life, how many times have you been associated with a team as a player and or broadcaster that you woke up and you were 7-1 on a Sunday?
2 times in high school. Couple times, maybe once or twice at Mizzou. Maybe not quite 7-1, but pretty close. And then in Dallas, yeah, definitely.
So what's been the common denominator for the success of this program? Obviously, some kids have stepped up. The defense is playing well. But from where you sit, is there anything in particular that makes this team stand out in the manner that it does?
I think the common denominator in all those situations that I was in is that you have a culture in your locker room where everyone supports each other, a close-knit family. There's no cancers going on inside. Everyone's playing for each other. It's just like a family, and everyone kind of looks forward to showing up every day at practice and working towards a common goal.
You know, when you look at this team offensively, I don't know if I've seen this sort of balance. You know, there were some times where you would rely on one person or maybe two, but, you know, from Brady Cook to the running game to the passing game where there's more than just Luther out there. I mean, have you ever seen a more balanced attack, in which I think has more to offer as we get deeper into the conference schedule?
No, what's interesting about that comment is that I was looking at the game probably somewhere in the third quarter, and I was looking at rushing stats versus passing, and they were almost equal. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 rushes as opposed to passes. Of course, that changed a little bit as the game wore on. It was pretty obvious Missouri's going to win the game, and they just started running the football. But I think that yesterday the goal was to be balanced. You didn't have to necessarily throw the ball all day to make things happen, score points. Although South Carolina, if you looked at their secondary coming in, their defense, I mean, they were probably near the bottom. But I felt it was time for this team, especially at this stage in the season, where Missouri really needed to get its running game on track. When you face the teams that Missouri is going to face the last 3 or 4 games, you're going to have to be able to run the ball. And the only way to get better at running it is to do so. And sometimes, you can get a little pass happy, especially when you're having great success with kids like Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, and Mookie Cooper had a really good day yesterday as well. But you always have to go to your bread and butter in the SEC. And I was happy to see Cody Schrader. He eclipsed his own rushing high this season. Previous high was 138 yards. He ended up with 159 yesterday.
Where in your opinion, is this team most improved from, let's say, the end of last year to where we're at now?
Not necessarily football-wise. It's the level of confidence. I think understanding, how you're going to attack teams and where you can achieve the biggest results. I think that that cohesion, both offensively and defensively, is starting to evolve. I think that's the prime difference between the team in 2022 that lost 4 close games by, I think, a grand total of 18 points. This year, those same situations, and I spoke to the team in the spring about this, when you feel yourselves in those close-knit games, it's time to, lay off the mistakes. You've got to win those games. You've got to learn how to finish. And I think that's what they're doing. That's why they're 7-1. I mean, they could have been in this spot last year, but they didn't have – I don't think they had the know-how to win or even to finish. But I think they're learning each week of what it takes, whether it's by practice, whether it's just by experience or both. They're learning how to do this. Now, in 2 weeks, you face a formidable opponent in Georgia, a team that you could have, if the situations had presented themselves last year in the right way, you could have beaten the number 1 team in the nation. I think Missouri's better prepared at this point to face a team like Georgia. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but I think Missouri will be much better prepared to compete against Georgia for 4 quarters. And then you have to see where, how the game turns out.
Yeah, that's a great point you make, being prepared. There was a time where you just would say, let's just hope we don't get beat by 35 or 40.
Right.
Now you're at a point like, well, why not us? And as you look at Georgia, you got a bye to prepare. And if you keep the penalties down to a minimum, obviously, and stay out of the 3-and-out situations, what will Mizzou have to do in order to not just stay in it, but in order to win it? Because the obvious things I just mentioned, but what do you think they're going to have to do that's going to be exceptional that maybe Georgia either hasn't seen or doesn't know how to deal with?
Missouri has to get rid of the self-destruction. A couple of personal foul penalties yesterday that set them back. This game could have been a shutout against South Carolina. But those are the things, again, the mental mistakes. An experienced team, a veteran team, has to be able to do that, especially in big situations. So it certainly will be an occasion that they have to rise to. But also, I think you got to stay ahead of the chains on first down. Continue to push and stay out of the thirds and long situations against Georgia, because that's where they're exceptionally good on defense. I think if you find yourself in third downs and thirds and shorts, man, it makes it much easier to control the clock and to move the football. Missouri's been pretty good in the red zone. So if you can continue to play on that side of the ball and that close to the goal line, now you got a chance to really put pressure on a team that isn't always used to, maybe playing from behind or playing in close games. Although they have probably played more close games this season than they had in the previous 2.
Howard Richards, as always, it's great to visit with you, sir. Enjoy the bye week. I know you'll find some activities that'll keep you busy. And good luck the following week against Georgia.
Thanks, Mike. Look forward to talking to you again.
All right. He's Howard Richards. I'm Mike Claiborne. We will talk some hockey when we come back. Jamal Mayers is going to join us on Your Voice for the Cardinals and St. Louis University, KMOX.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, so why don't we do something about it? With Neovitin Men's 50 Plus, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Formulated for men over 50, Neovitin Men's 50 Plus gives you B vitamins to support energy and our proprietary physician-formulated blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Do something about your health today with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus. Available at your local Schnucks and Deerbergs.
KMOX News. Sharing information with the local news you need to hear.
There's a lot of interesting topics to pay attention to that could actually affect your daily life.
I think it's important to be better informed about what's going on around you.
Because it affects you, everything around you.
Locally. To understand
the way that people in your neighborhood kind of live their life.
How the world around me will affect me.
Staying informed with the trusted voice of news.
The cornerstone of trust.
News Radio 1120. KMOX.
Discover the extraordinary power of stories at the St. Louis Storytelling Festival. This free event takes place from the 18th to 28th at St. Louis County Library and other venues throughout the St. Louis region. The festival features a diverse lineup of nationally renowned storytellers, as well as free programs for all ages. Join us for writing workshops, dance performances, puppetry, songwriting, tutorials, ghost stories, folklore, and more. Visit slcl.org/storytelling for details.
The average age of a hearing aid wearer has gone from 68 to 59 years old. What's going on? Let's check in with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center.
Baby boomers think of themselves as 15 years younger than they are. They're shifting their mindset from a retroactive to more of a proactive mindset in healthcare. They're focusing more on preventative healthcare, and that includes better hearing. We're here to bring loved ones back into the conversation. So please come in to see us so that we can test your hearing and get a treatment plan that's right for you. Hearing aids are so much more than better hearing. They can also alert loved ones if you've fallen and of your current location. They can keep track of your steps to encourage healthy movement throughout the day. Come see us to learn more.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler has 3 locations: Creve Coeur, St. Peter's, and Florissant. Call 636-441-7470 to make an appointment.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
Websites and social media selling fake medicines may look legitimate, but they're not.
He died in less than 15 minutes after taking the pill.
Any medication not purchased from a licensed pharmacy could be deadly.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Learn about fake medicine on social media and if an online pharmacy is safe.
Following the Dave Glover Show at 5 o'clock, it's Total Information PM. Hey, I'm Michael Calhoun. Check in with Kevin Wheeler and me for the latest news and information. Roger covers your commute. Dave Murray's got the forecast. Matt Pauley has sports. We'll take deep dives on local issues and help you be a smarter consumer. At 5:30, the CBS Evening News helps you understand what's happening around the country and the world. Total Information PM at 5 o'clock, right after Dave Glover on the trusted voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue with sports on a Sunday morning here on KMOX. Mike Claiborne here, and we're going to talk a little hockey with former Stanley Cup champion. Well, once a champion, always a champion. He's Jamal Mayers, formerly of the St. Louis Blues, and now color analyst, not only in St. Louis with the Blues broadcast, but also in Canada as well. He's a very busy man, and we say good morning. How are you, sir?
How we're doing, Mike? Good to see you.
It's better to be seen than viewed these days. Let's talk about a few things. Let's go back to last night. Blues with a good win over a good Pittsburgh Penguin team. It's going to take a while before it seems like we're going to know what this team is going to look like. And I know you played on teams like that. What are some of the things you're going to start to look for in order to figure out, is this team moving in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was a little concerning offensively that they only scored 5 goals in the first 3 games, but it was nice to see that they came out and were able to get 4 against the Penguins. It is going to take time. They're trying to adjust the way that they play. Look at last year, and they lived off the rush. They were 9th in the league on rush chances. They want to play a more patient, grinding style, similar to what they had so much success with in 2019. And it's going to take time. The one shining bright light for this group right now has been the play of Jordan Binnington, who's been arguably he is definitely at the early part of the season in the Vezina conversation. That's how well he's playing right now.
You know, one of the things about him, and I agree, he is playing extremely well, but we can't ask him to stand on his head virtually every night. Some other people are going to have to do their job. I'm of the belief that if he can make one great save per period, then I think we're going to have a pretty good night. But it seems like he's having to do more than that early. So at some point, they've got to change up some things, and they've got to be a little bit more committed on the back end. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. And I'll just read off, I'm not a huge analytics guy, but sometimes they point to some things that are important. And here are a couple of things. Their rush chances against, they're 32nd. That's last in the league. Inner slot shots, 32nd. There's one really good thing that's happening is in years past, they've had trouble defending the front of the net. Well, this year, they're doing a pretty good job of that. They're second in the league in allowing rebound chances. But again, you look at how well he's playing, these underlying numbers, what they tell me is that Jordan Binnington has been saving their bacon, and they're going to have to tighten up defensively because you can't rely on him to play as well as he has all season long.
I would agree wholeheartedly. Hey, let's talk about a couple other things. Some big news this week. the most recent class for the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame was announced, and two of your former teammates of the three players that have been named. Mike Liut is the other player, but Pavel Demitra and Keith Kachuk, two guys you had a chance to play with.
Oh, just, it's funny being there and watching their relationship grow and their friendship off the ice grow, and the obvious chemistry that they had on the ice. They couldn't be two opposite type of personalities. Obviously, Pav growing up in Slovakia and Walt being from Boston, and to see how they communicated and how they gave each other a hard time and how they genuinely loved each other. The chemistry they had on the ice was undeniable. Obviously, Pav was an exemplary vision. His compete was off the charts. His ability and his creativity. Walt obviously was arguably the best power forward, I think, in his generation, and his ability to just get to the front of the net, present his stick, and make himself available. They complemented each other so well and read off each other so well, and very, very happy for both of them, to be inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame, and deservedly so. So pretty cool to be around to watch their chemistry and watch how special they were together, and to be a part of those teams that we had so much success.
Jamal Mayers is with us. He's a Stanley Cup champion. He's with the Blues broadcast, and also, if you're in Canada, you can see him on Sportsnet virtually every night. It seems like he's in Toronto having a good time there. Hey, staying off the ice for a second, Blues youth hockey continues to grow here in St. Louis at the grassroots level, introducing 1,200 new players ages 4 to 10. That's got to be a lot of fun, and I know you're involved in that along with a few other Blues alumni. What's that like to watch the growth here in St. Louis of hockey, just when we thought it had grown enough?
It really is remarkable. You think about all the kids that, I think the idea is that let's give every kid an opportunity to try it. Who knows if they're going to like it, but I think that that's the best part about our sport. And the unique part about our game is that all the character values that are embedded in our game, selflessness, teamwork, accountability, being responsible for yourself, and being a good teammate, all those characteristics every parent would want in their kids. So, creating an opportunity for kids to come out and learn how to skate and try hockey has been a real of importance to, the organization, the ownership, Tom Stillman, and the leadership from Chris Zimmerman. So I think they've been really attentive about making sure that all parts of St. Louis are getting exposed to the game and getting an opportunity to try the sport. We all know that the nominal costs aren't going away. The real challenge going long term is the sustainability of allowing kids to continue to play. But I think just giving them a chance to play a sport they would never have tried, and it's really special to watch it grow in St. Louis and see how many kids are enjoying the game.
Now you got the fall session that starts with Blues youth hockey. That starts next Saturday on the 28th at the Centene Community Ice Center. And then the third season for the North City Blues is going to start up. That's on Wednesday, November 1st. So there's a lot of ways to get involved in local hockey around town.
There really are. And I think that, not every kid's going to want to continue to play, but I think giving them a chance to try it has been important. And it's just been fun to see the smiles on their faces, seeing them have success, and understanding that, they're going to fail, they're going to fall down. But it's such a microcosm of life, is that you get back up and you try again, and you learn about resilience, and you learn about hard work, and it's just fun to see them having fun and see them with their gear on and try to think back to when you were that small, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. When you think about yourself, and you're a father, you have kids, and to watch them go out and try. Fortunately, you started off with girls. The young fella came along a little later, so it's got to be fun to watch him in that situation. Now, are you an advocate of kids playing more than one sport, or are you just all in on one particular sport?
No, I think I blame the organizers of sports. I'll give you an example, I think it's important kids play all sports. I think at about 13, 14, you probably have to hone in on one. But I think for their development, not only cognitively, but athletically and proprioceptionally, just to become a better athlete, it's important that they learn how to play other sports, and we want them to play other sports. I'll give you an example. I do coach the AAA Blues, the minor Pee Wee team, but we encourage other sports. So when we're off season and the kids are playing baseball and they're playing football, that's the priority when it's in the spring. Yes, we're still going to have touches in the spring. We still want them to come out when they're available. But when we switch sports, we want them playing the other sport, and nothing's going to be held against them. If they're busy and they're playing baseball, go play baseball. And when it's hockey season, come back to us. And until you get to about 13 or 14, I think it's really important for kids to play a multitude of sports.
All right, now you let the cat out the bag. You're a coach. You play for a lot of different coaches. Whose style would Jamal Mayers be similar to if I came out and watched you coach?
Wow. I would think it's similar to Joel Quenneville in the sense that very passionate coach, very much has probably for me, he had the best touch of who was going on a given night, could adjust on the fly, but had a passion that the players fed off of every night and made the tactical adjustments necessary. So, I mean, you don't have to make that many adjustments when the kids are 11 years old. You just kind of get out of the way and you coach them when they're on the bench. You don't want to do too much, but I'm very spoiled. We got Matt Lashoff and Joe Vitale's sons are also on the team. So the kids don't realize it, but we got a pretty good coaching staff. So we're having some fun.
All right, that's what you want to do is have fun. You know, you touched on something about hockey. When coaches can get a feel on who's ready to go and who's able to contribute early, that's something, man. If you don't figure it out in the first 2 or 3 shifts, it could be a very long night.
Oh, it's so true. I think that you have some players, and it doesn't matter their age, they rise to the occasion, and some, they're not quite ready for that. So you got to, the goal for us is to make sure they're all improving and remaining confident and putting them in a position to succeed. And that really doesn't change at any level. So it's been a fun process so far, and we're enjoying it and having fun.
As we wrap up things with Stanley Cup champion Jamal Mayers, Jammer, the Blues are going out on a 4-game road trip. They're going west. What were those trips like for you? Because some guys dread it, some guys love the bonding, and other guys were like, I can't wait to get home.
Honestly, I think it's a real important part of the process of growing as a team. I think it's important to have the dinners together, to hang out together, to get to know your teammates. And I think that the good thing for the Blues is their leadership core are veteran players that have been there before, that have learned those lessons through other veterans and understand the importance of those moments and those times away. And it's an opportunity for them to get to know each other, because there's going to be moments, Claibs, where, as you know, you're going to have to call each other out. And if your teammates don't know you care, they're not going to want to listen to it. So these are good chances, good opportunities. It's not just about having fun. It's about getting to know your buddies and your teammates, so that, quite frankly, it's all about winning. You can let them know and let each other know. And when it's not going well, you can be honest and tell each other it's got to be better.
He is Jamal Mayers. I'm Mike Claiborne. Jammer, thank you so much for your time today, sir. And we'll look forward to staying in touch here in the very near future.
Looking forward to it, Claibs. Thanks.
He's Jamal Mayers. I'm Mike Claiborne. We thank you for tuning in today on Sports on a Sunday. Don't forget, Soccer Talk comes your way next on the Voice of the Cardinals right here on KMOX.
The deal of the year is here. In celebration of McKelvey Homes' 125th anniversary, save up to $89,724. Unlock a special mortgage interest rate starting in the 5s, $2,500 in free closing costs. They're donating $18.98, the year they were founded, to St. Vincent de Paul for every sale from now until December 31st. Huge savings, a beautiful home, a chance to make a difference. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Get your sports fix with a Gray Bar Sports Open Line.
Welcome into the program. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. My name is Matt Pauley.
Matt talks everything Cardinals.
When you look at the team for next year and you compare it to what they have in place right now that can be usable next year, I think it's pretty clear. Top 2 pitchers next year, probably not on the team right now.
Plus,